Hello there, I'm your host Adrian Atkinson and welcome to our weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. Today is being observed as International Museum Day under the theme Museums, Sustainability and Well-Being. Museums play a vital role in fostering and preserving our heritage, as well as promoting the well-being of communities worldwide. So if you aren't quite feeling 100%, you might consider visiting a museum for a rejuvenating experience. Coming up in our show today, highlights of the Labor Day launch, and we look at the role of two hydrologists who are going against the tide. Stay with us for details and so much more. Ramp up the access, show that you care. That's the ending of this year's Labor Day theme. It begins with the focus, persons with disabilities, the elderly and the vulnerable. What does it mean for your May 23 plans? Keep watching to find out more.
Jamaicans are being urged this Labor Day to demonstrate care for the disabled, the elderly and the vulnerable. Labor Day will be observed on Thursday, May 23, under the theme Ramp Up the Access, Show That You Care. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, says the government is committed to accessibility for all. She was addressing the recent Workers' Week and Labor Day launch held at her ministry's office in Kingston.
I'm happy this year's focus for Labor Day is on caring for persons with disabilities, caring for the elderly and the vulnerable by providing access for all. It is about access to buildings, to health care, to education, to every element of the nation's goods and services for all, without exception.
The national project this year will improve access to the country's oldest culture and heritage institution, the Institute of Jamaica.
Founded in 1879. The Institute is the repository of the nation's information on culture, science, heritage, and traditions, with its museums such as the Museum of Jamaican History, the Jamaica Music Museum, and the National Gallery.
In addition to the national project, each municipal corporation will also select and work on a parish project in keeping with the theme.
Each division will receive an allocation of $200,000 for Labor Day project in each division right across the municipalities. The mayors will get $275,000 and $500,000 will be provided to each municipality for the National Labor Day project.
Among the many government agencies participating, the Heart NSTA Trust has an island-wide plan.
We will be constructing ramps, mounting signage, establishing accessible parking spaces, installing handrails, creating more accessible restrooms, and refurbishing activities to include painting, minor repair, painting of perimeter walls, designing and painting of murals, provision of bed linen for those on the sick bay, and of course, repainting of pedestrian crossing.
But with volunteerism at the heart of Labor Day, it's not just about government-led activism. Representing the local government minister at the launch, his permanent secretary encouraged the public to collaborate and improve their communities.
This is an important theme that goes beyond the categories of persons it identifies. This theme represents the government's continuing effort to reignite and spread across our country the spirit of volunteerism and the attitudes of mutual respect, caring, concern, and compassion as normal daily experiences in our workplaces, homes, and communities. We appeal to every Jamaican to use this opportunity to build your community by the actions you take. Labor Day is an appeal to nationhood, and I urge us all to treat it not as a holiday, but as a working day on which we rediscover and build on the values that will make our beloved country the place of choice to live, work, raise families, peace resident, and to do business.
Minister of Labor and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr., says this year's theme will help to foster greater inclusivity.
I believe that it's a call to action for all of us as Jamaicans to pledge our support to fostering the inclusivity that is necessary and actually moving beyond just talking about it to getting something done. It serves as a reminder that every one of us, regardless of our challenges, regardless of our abilities, we are all in circumstances that merit equal access to opportunities and services.
Dr. Floyd Morris, who is Jamaica's first blind senator, welcomed the move.
And so, what is being proposed and what will be taking place for Labor Day 2024 fits right within what is required from the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the Disabilities Act of Jamaica, the Building Act of Jamaica, and various research that have been documented. And so I want to publicly endorse and support the activities of Labor Day 2024 because it is for a noble cause.
Activities for Workers' Week and National Labor Day 2024 include a Thanksgiving church service in Mount Bay St. Thomas on May 19. Centenarians Day is May 20, and on May 21, a floral tribute at the Aggie Bernard Monument will be followed by an unveiling ceremony of the bust of the Honorable Lyndon Newland. Then, on May 22, an expo and a discussion forum on services and support for persons with disabilities will take place. On the day, May 23, Labor Day projects will get underway right across the island. After the day's work, a national concert will be held at Emancipation Park.
This government, your government, is committed to facilitating an environment in which the creativity, the potential of every Jamaican worker can be encouraged, can be harnessed for the growth and development of this beloved land. Where all of us, where the productivity is recognized as the springboard to launch us into the prosperity that we speak of.
National Labor Day 2024. Ramp up the access and show that you care for the disabled, elderly, and vulnerable among us.
Greatness is in your bones.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a butcher with no brains. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single day.
We're looking for great things this season, and I know you believe it within your very core. And so we have committed to continue the support behind you and in front of you and beside you so that you can excel and you can do well and you can be your best self.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a butcher with no brains. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single day.
They are more than just the provider of traditional and digital examination services. The staff of the Overseas Examinations Commission, OEC, are providing much more to the education landscape as they continue to look towards the future and beyond.
Since 1887, the Overseas Examinations Commission has been a standard bearer in the administering of assessments which would see takers moving to the next level. The Commission also provides attending services such as supervisors and invigilators, document certification, and digital papers. All these services were executed in a building that has stood the test of time. But as the days march on, and the demand for OEC services increase, the time has come for a building that will meet the needs of 21st century learners.
The project is really about a rebirth of the organization. The architectural style you're talking about really, I think, refers to the old structure that is being replaced, and to some extent the existing head office, which is kind of the front part of the building. The old structure is going to be completely demolished, and it's going to be replaced with a 4 or 5 story structure that is going to be linked to the old building. Now, while there are going to be some functionality that perhaps looks the same, from an ergonomic perspective, it's not really so much about maintaining the architectural history of the entire complex. It's now about modernizing and actually improving on how the space is used. I believe construction should start sometime in around May, June, the latest, and it's slated to finish before the tail end of 2025. There's going to be, I think perhaps maybe a first in Jamaica, virtual reality and augmented reality lab, which really kind of enhances how the younger generation will be able to look at technology, to perhaps touch and feel it, not necessarily in a real way, but it gives more exposure in a digital world than they currently have access to. You're going to have more labs, there are going to be virtual classrooms, there's going to be actually a space reserved on the building for the CXC Secretariat. But it's really an expansion and modernization of the facilities and the spaces that are currently available for use. So it's about enhancing the existing operations and doing a lot more than is currently being done, with a major focus on digital transformation.
Most persons would know about Professor Neville Ying. He was board chairman for some 25 years. And since then we've had Mr. Brian Bennett-Easy, and it was fortuitous that he became chairman when he did, because he's from I like to say he's from cyberspace. So he understands very clearly where we need to go in terms of where the world is going in terms of technology and communication and that sort of things. We have to have very secure facilities. We have to have our vaults, and we have to have cameras, and we have to make sure that papers do not get into the hands of persons in the public before the exams are written. So that's a huge responsibility, and I have to commend the staff of the OEC over the years, because they have to interact with these papers, and we have to rely heavily on their integrity to ensure that the papers are preserved, and that when the papers are opened on the day of the examination or the days of the examination, that nobody had previously seen these questions. So kudos to the staff over the years.
You know, in this digital age, you probably hear CXC talking about online testing. What that means is the way examinations are proctored in Jamaica, that has to change in a dramatic way. And overseas exam, being the institution that is charged with leading all of that, has to be prepared. And we have been preparing for the last 5 or 6 years to do this. As a matter of fact, in preparing for that change, we have donated, I think, somewhere in the region of 3,500 computers to high schools across Jamaica. And that investment is in excess of $400 million, and that is expected to continue.
After more than 135 years of service, the Overseas Examinations Commission remains true to its mission of providing educational services with integrity, reliability, innovation, and efficiency.
Are you protected? We're speaking about consumers and their access to information that is not only safe, but it's accurate and it can be trusted. We're talking about data protection, e-commerce, online banking, and online fraud. The question is whether or not you can trust it. You're thinking about identity theft. You're thinking about where your documents are stored and whether or not this can also impact you from a credit perspective. You are to get one free credit report each year. Do not waste that resource. Look at it, see how you can address whatever issues it might be pointing to, whether or not it is true, yea or nay. Ask questions and seek assistance whenever possible. Do not be afraid. Ask the questions. If you are unsure, sometimes we're doing something and we get a little gut feeling and you want to draw back. Do some more investigation to see whether or not this is something that you want to undertake or whether or not it will affect you in a negative light.
As our magazine journey continues, let's dive into the world of two remarkable women who are making waves in the field of hydrology. Meet Alexia Gray and Natalie Hutchins, female hydrologists who are enthusiastic about their job.
History and perhaps culture have kept many women a rung lower on the professional ladder and firmly planted in fields once deemed a man's domain. But more women are going beyond the expected and dismantling these stereotypical norms. One of the biggest areas in which they're going beyond the unseen rules guiding gender and professional expectations is hydrology.
Hi, I'm Alexia Gray and I'm a woman in hydrology.
Hi, my name is Natalie Hutchins and I'm a hydrogeologist at the Water Resources Authority. And yes, I'm a woman.
I ended up being a hydrologist completely by accident, by serendipity. I wanted to do engineering when I finished high school, but I didn't get into the program when I first applied. So I enrolled in geology and physics classes in my first year at university, and the rest is history.
As a hydrogeologist, some of my routine work includes wells and stream flow monitoring and measurements. I also do water quality sampling, and I create maps and do reports. So essentially my work takes me traveling around Jamaica in search for water sources. Hydrogeology was something I've always wanted to do. So from high school I wanted to be a geologist. So I went to UWI to do geology. And then that led me into a career at the WRA where now I work in water. And I've come to appreciate water as the most invaluable natural resource on Earth.
Despite ideas of progress not always matching parity, or the whole narrative of what's a man's or a woman's job, what these women are doing is significantly impacting lives right across the country.
The Water Resources Authority has 3 main roles. We investigate queries about new and existing water sources or resources. We collect data in terms of stream flow and quality, and we also allocate water to users such as the NWC, which is our biggest user, and other entities.
In order to allocate water, we would have to have an understanding of how much water is available. So we would do data collection such as flow measurements or well measurements and understand how much water is available to see how much water is in demand, and then we do the calculations. So where there is a deficit, water is usually supplied from areas where there's a surplus to balance things out.
For these women, their duties also expand to providing responses in times of drought.
The key to drought resiliency is improved capture and storage of water. Jamaica has more than enough water to serve its population. However, our problem is that we do not capture enough of it and we do not have enough storage for the population. So the key is to capture it, reduce leaks, and to build more storage, install tanks, build more dams, and other types of reservoirs.
They're also testing and assessing the quality of our groundwater while keeping us all in the know.
Jamaica's groundwater quality is generally good. It meets the ambient standard, the national ambient standard. Ambient meaning doesn't need any treatment, right? However, there are a few basins that are contaminated due to pollution or saltwater intrusion. But for the most part across the island, our groundwater is pretty good for domestic use. However, for agricultural and industrial users, they may need to treat their water to international standards depending on what they're going to use it for.
And as for their perception on why the profession of hydrology or hydrogeology remains a male-dominated field?
For a hydrologist or hydrogeologist, being out in the field means doing physical and practical tasks. It usually includes long drives out of town, hiking through river valleys, over hills in search for water. The profession is usually male-dominated because we live in a society and a culture where men are usually seen as physically stronger, and they also require less security in the field.
Women were not allowed to work. We were not even allowed to become educated to do these jobs. So that has been changing with changing attitudes of both men and women. It's improving, but we have a far way to go.
And just like these 2 female hydrologists, many women are stepping into diverse professions and are changing the old narrative to craft their own stories.
We all progress in small steps, so before passing judgment on a man, try to walk a mile in his shoes to experience the world from his perspective. Considering the foregoing, the following account highlights an institution using its resources and influence to assist students who have entered its doors. A support system anyone will be grateful for.
First of all, I'd like to say that part of our core values at Christian High School is giving. I'd like to emphasize that. At Christian High School, we have a very robust program through our guidance and counseling department who constantly do needs assessment of our students to ensure that all our students are benefiting from this program. And so we have a wide range of things that we do, from ensuring that students are taken care of where bus fares are concerned, for lunches, uniforms, books, stationaries. We even go as far as assisting students with their CSEC examination payments.
Since my tenure here as guidance counselor over 11 years, we have started what is called our welfare program in the Guidance and Counseling Department. The numbers cannot be counted, to be honest, but we have had a lot of students who have benefited. If I was to count, we would be counting over 500 and going.
From those numbers, here are the few beneficiaries.
They helped me with lunch.
I benefited from the welfare program by receiving financial help and help with purchasing school clothes, shoes, and so on.
I was benefited with financially for getting uniforms and bus fare and to come to school.
Our program also assists with school shoes. We have received donations from past students overseas from time to time. So we get shoes, backpacks, stationery supplies, and those things. So yes, we have assisted students. Sometimes we might see a student come into school in slippers because they are in need of a shoes, and we have reached out to them. If we don't have it readily on hand in the office, then we collect donations, or from our welfare drive or funds, we can purchase shoes for those children. Over the years, by doing our needs assessment, we realized that children are from varied backgrounds. They're from homes where parents are unemployed, and so the needs are great. So we, as a school, we have decided to launch this welfare program so that we can assist these students to stay in school, because education is very important and children cannot learn if they're hungry, if they're in need. So this is one way of reaching out to them.
My role in the welfare program is to ensure or assist in ensuring that students who need assistance are taken care of in the best way we can.
We are not just there for them as teachers, but we are their mothers, we are their fathers, and we try our best to show them that kind of support. Every opportunity we get through our assembly period, we try to ensure that we have speakers, we have motivational speakers who comes in and demonstrate this kind of love to the students. And we do our part as caregivers, as teachers, as principals.
I feel extremely grateful because this helps all students, everyone that's in need, and some that just need a little bit of assistance. It helps them to be less worried about how they get through their school life.
We've come to the end of today's Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us again tomorrow on the same station for another informative edition. Remember, in the meantime, to visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for this and other information. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Adrian Atkinson, reminding you that children have the potential to bring incredible change to our world. But first, we need to recognize their value.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.